But 10:45 is a better time. Okay, now here we go. My coffee haven't come in yet, lah, but it's okay. Somebody said, because I in the middle of a very, intense time last Tuesday, the clock went off. Somebody said, hey, your clock is possessed, lah. Okay, so this story is from North India. This is for people who are very, very impatient. I'll tell you one story, and then for those who are willing to listen, I'll go to the real story after I finish this first part. So this story is from North India, and there was this retired soldier. His name is Raghbir Singh. Okay, not his real name. Raghbir is a good friend of mine. I hope he's not listening. Raghbir Singh was a retired army guy, and then in the end, what happens is he's running away. Okay, so that's for those who are impatient. So that's the story for you. And now for the real story. Okay, so those who heard that part, you can log off now. You can go on. So the story is about, it's from northern India. Okay, serious a bit, northern India, near the Himalayan area. And so it starts with this soldier being in hospital. Ex-soldier lah, he's retired, discharged early, honorable discharge lah, a very decorated soldier, and he's in the hospital. So he has no recollection of why he had been into the hospital and how long he has been in the hospital. According to the doctors and the nurses, he has been in coma for a long time, and so he's getting better, and over the couple of weeks he had improved tremendously, and so they were saying you can go back now. Now the thing with Raghbir is he had no recollection of his immediate past, but he doesn't know that. All he knew was he was in the army. So he checks back with the hospital and asks them, I don't know, I cannot remember. So the hospital understood his situation. So the doctor who was in charge came to him, a very nice guy, came to him and said, listen, there was a lot of time, come in, there's a lot of time that had passed. Come, give me the coffee. Will you come? Thank you. Oh, my coffee came in. So, where was I? So the doctor explained, listen, there's been some time lapse from the time you left the army and you have been discharged honorably, and what we have done is the army has helped you get an apartment for now, temporary, till you can stand on your own, and then you're going to be sent to this housing where you will be placed there until the army says that you are a good soldier, and you wanted, and your own officers in charge took charge of this issue, and they are getting a place for you to stay temporarily. So we hope you sort it out, and what you do is once you settle down, go find a job. And so Raghbir Singh didn't have a family. Okay, he was a loner, very focused on what he was doing all the while. So he got discharged, he left, went back home, got a place where everything was settled for him. The army had paid for him his own personal officers in charge liked him a lot, and then they took care of him. And he also received a call from them to check if he's okay, and also, and then they say you just stay relaxed for a while, and then find a job, and then carry on with your life. So Raghbir went to do, couldn't get like big jobs. It was a small town where he was staying at, and he just wanted to stay there for a while and calm himself down, because he also had to go back for medical checkups because he had headaches coming all the time. Okay, and so managed to get a job in like a local coffee shop as a waiter, so it was this coffee shop, this town was in the mountainous area of the Himalayas, and so not many jobs there, right? So he was working there, got a bit of salary, hardly enough, but he had some savings, and so he was just living there, hand to mouth, going to work every day. Out of the blue, one day he received an email. The email states that they needed him to work as a security in a place further north, and he was keen on that job. And so first of all, he was curious on how they got contact of him and all that. So he checked with them, where did you all get my contact? So they just said, this job is on offer. We know of your past army records. Are you keen to work with us? And the pay was quite an amazing amount. So for Rakbir, who was hardly making ends meet, a bit lost, so he thought, wow, this pay is quite a fantastic pay. It was almost like if he had worked in the coffee shop, he probably take about 2 years to get that money, and he was very close to even slightly higher than his army pay. And so he thought, wow, this is a good deal. Then he said, so they said they needed him at the workplace within 3 days. So he said, it's a bit of a distance. I don't think I can get a bus or transport there and make it there, because when Rakbir checked on the map, right, it's a very remote part of northern India, very, very remote, and there's hardly any buses even going there. In fact, the closest town is about 30 kilometers away from that property. He went to check. Rakbir is quite a smart guy. He's not, he's not like a low-end soldier, so he had a good officer rank. He was quite a smart guy. And so they said, not to worry, we will even give you a jeep, and that's yours. And this job is a permanent job for you. Let us know if you are keen or not. But once you get there, there won't be much contact with us. Your pay will be credited in. In fact, if you agree, we will give you an advance 1 month bonus for joining. And so that will help you start with, getting your supplies and all. And we will also send a jeep to your house. So that is your car. So Rakbir thought, wow, what a sweet deal, man. And this is fantastic. So he said, just fill up the form and, we can get started. I'm sorry, guys, I got to put up. All right. Give me a second. The battery, I'm so unprepared today because work, rush from work. So sorry. Let me just hook it up. 1 second. Good to go. Thank you. So that was done. So the next day morning itself, he checked his bank. The salary, the bonus, joining bonus had come in. Everything was proper. Paperwork is sent to him by courier. Somebody came to his house, and they also delivered his vehicle for him, a good jeep and all. So he thought, wow, wassalam, brother. And so he was set. So what he do? He knew what to get. So he knew he had to stay there permanently. It's a remote place, and the village is going to go is also a remote village. You won't have the supplies that he's looking for. So you're also looking for at some high-tech equipment and all, because he'll be the only, according to the job contract, he will be the only security guard for a 5,000 acre space, which is a huge space, and it's almost, they say, it's a colonial building, colonial architecture, and the statues and the foundation is all very colonial and is part of heritage. So they want him to be there, and because he's skilled as a soldier, they wanted him specifically. So so he went to get all the supplies. He had money. He was quite happy lah. But like I said, Rakbir was a guy who's alone, didn't have a family. All his life he had spent in the army. He was just lonely. He didn't have friends at the village as well. He had been in coma, according to the hospital, for a long time. So he went to the hospital, got all the supplies of medication, because he gets some recurring headaches sometimes. Told the doctors he got a job and he'll be traveling. So the doctor said, anything, you just check back with us, any issues you have. And then they gave him about like a 6-month supply of medication and all that. He said, I'm sure you'll be able to come back, or if you take the seat, go to a nearest hospital somewhere there, you can find. So Rakbir ran off on his journey. Okay, so it took a good almost 1.5 days to 2 days to reach the destination. In fact, when he went there, there was no internet service there as well. But he was told that there will be a computer in the property, and he could communicate with them through email and all that. He said, but there's no Wi-Fi connection because it's so remote. It's in the mountains of Himalayas. So he went to the property. It was a huge property, and he said, and the company told him there'll be instructions there. Once you get in, the key will be found, and then you get in. Your job is to take care of the place. Anything you can contact through email, because the phones won't work there as well. Ragbir went to the property, huge property, went in. It's almost like a castle. Okay, it's like a combination of Indian and British architecture, and he could sense that the way it was created, he was probably done for a very high ranking officer. So they wanted the property to be, protected and all that. So it was a huge property with a short gate surrounding it. It had been set up and all that, wire fencing and all outside. So first day he went into his soldier mode and then started inspecting the place. First of all, check everything, check the surrounding area and the perimeter of the ground and all that, to make sure everything is okay. Check whether the fencing, if anything is broken and all, and then set up his like a tower to look over the surrounding area on a higher floor. And went to check his supplies. He made sure he brought in a good amount of supplies, and they also said the house itself will have electrical staff run by generators and all. There will be food there, so he was also told to bring in whatever he needs. He checked all the supplies, went to check the water pump and water supply, everything is in order, check all the wiring, and went to check the generator, backup generator for electricity, checked everything. So somehow it was very automatic for him, because this was part of his nature of job in the army, setting up all these things in the army. So he was very natural at it. He didn't have to think about it. He had good memory of those. But the immediate past was a bit of a blank to him, but he didn't bother about that. He got a new life. He was happy. Went around checking the fence to see everything is okay. So, and then what he did was he also brought in motion detectors, cameras with motion detectors. And what he did was he placed them on almost the four corners of the property, hooked it up into the computer there, and then set everything up for the day. And by that time, it was already close to 7 in the evening. It got dark there, so got himself a bit of food. He cooked a bit, and the place was a nice, beautiful, well-maintained place. And so from what he knew, the cleaner will probably come in once a month or 2 months, one from the nearby village, but he had to go and pick them up and come in, and that's about it. Set everything up and relaxed for the night. A bit uneasy, but was okay. And what I forgot to tell you also, according to them, the story was the first floor had huge windows, very British architecture, a bit of Indian architecture as well. So they had huge windows throughout the house, from the front to the side, east and the west, and the north and the south side, all had huge windows. Even the kitchen area at the back had huge windows, and glass windows, of course. So he made sure everything was okay. He also set up motion detector, lights and all that. So he did everything well, and so he had his car parked outside on the sandy, posh area. So what he did was he set up his own lookout area on the second floor of the building. He had like a balcony to come out to look over, so he can look over. So that's the first time he looked over, because when he was driving in, it was all jungle, windy road, giant, it's all jungle all the way. And then when he stood at the top and then he looked out, he realized he couldn't see anything. It was pitch black. The only area he could see was just the front of the house where he had lights on. Not very bright, slightly dim. Only if something were to walk past, the brighter lights would come up. Other than that, it's very dim lights, just enough. So the only thing that was shining onto the jungle or the forest area right around the whole castle was the light from the house, from the castle itself. So he stood there for a while. He made himself a cup of coffee. Very cool. It was a very cool night lah. And then just he had his sweaters on, and then just sat there for a while. New environment. And then what he did was, okay, he thought I should start early tomorrow, because he noticed some supplies, he needed some extra supplies. So he thought he need to drive to the nearest town and, you know, get those supplies. So he thought, I need to do some work and I'll start early. So he went to retire, went to bed, and then he slept. So he went to the first floor to sleep. There was a room on the first floor, you know. While he was sleeping, you know, as in all stories, he woke up with a sound. He wasn't sure what kind of sound it was, because he was sleeping, but something kind of jolted him up, like in a sense he felt uncomfortable. He woke up, he looked around, you know, he's still sitting in the bed. And then he stood up, he went near the window, and then he heard it this time. It was coming from a bit of a distance. It was like a howling. Couldn't make out. You know, he was in the army for many years. He was posted in the right at the border frontier of, you know, Indian border with another country. He was in the thick of action. So he's very familiar living in this kind of conditions. But he has never heard this kind of animal sound. To him, it was more of like half human, half animal kind of sound. But it was in a distance. So he wasn't sure. He said, wolf, or, you know, because it's a thick forest all the way. It was just mountainous area. You know, like I said before, the nearest town is about 30 kilometers away. And he thought, what, it could be an animal lah. So what he thought was, okay, never mind. He went to the second floor, took his binoculars. He thought he'd be of no use, because you're looking into darkness, right? There's no light. So he used his binoculars to just check nothing. And then this time, he heard the same howling, very much closer to the property. But it was coming from the back end of the house, so it means the other area. So how the house was set on the second floor was, it had a building itself, and then it had an outdoor corridor. It's like almost like an area where a guard can walk around and watch over that building. So he quickly ran to the back. And then he looked down, couldn't see anything, but he was very sure that scream or the howl came very close to the property. So what he used binoculars to check if the fence was broken. But he was a bit uncomfortable, you know, didn't like the sound of it, because it was not a clear cut like a wolf howling or a human shouting. For him, it was like a bit of a mix. It's like a scream that he has never, or a howling that he has never heard before. So he was a bit skeptical. What kind of animal could it be? Or what's going on? So he was a bit, you know, uncomfortable for him. So what he did was quickly, he had also brought a rifle. I mean, jungle area and all. So this was asked of him to do so. So he had brought a rifle as well as enough ammunition as well. I forgot to tell you all this part. What he did was he took that, went to the first floor. He switched off the lights and he just stood in the living area, huge living space. Just stood there at the corner, and then he waited to see if anything can be heard. So he waited and waited, he just being cautious. And because he already made sure that all the windows and the doors were locked. He waited for almost 1.5 hours, 2 hours. And then what he did, he quietly walked around the house from the inside to check any of the windows had been open or the doors been open. He walked. There was another main door at the back near the kitchen area where he led to the backyard. So went there, nothing was there. And then suddenly he saw the bushes or the forest in front of the back of the house area was moving. Like something rushed into that space. He quickly opened the door and came out and shone his torchlight and held up his rifle. I mean, he has done this a million times in the army. So for him was natural. And he was looking to see if anything was around. But he could sense that something had gone through that area. He wasn't sure. So what Ragbir did was quickly, check the fence. He felt that nothing was broken through. So he walked the perimeter of the castle to check if any of the fence or the gate, there's two gates, main gate and the back gate, anything has been, broken in, or opened up or torn or whatever. Nothing. So he thought, okay, maybe an animal came in, and you never know. So he thought maybe it was just an animal came in, was curious, maybe the lights were on, he wasn't sure. So he thought, okay, just go back into the house and sit and wait. So this time he couldn't sleep. He just went back into the house and waited. The dozed off again, woke up very early in the morning, 6, 7 o'clock. He woke up, and the first thing he did was he went to check the cameras. In the cameras, he found that there was a bit of a motion, but something ran across the camera, but it was just dark and he couldn't sense it out. Though there was a light to flash, it also took pictures as well, but it was just a blur. It was like something running across really quickly. It was dark, so it was not captured. But now he knows something did come near the property. So this part he's sure. So he was not imagining it. It was not a dream. So for sure something had to come across. So he knows now, okay. So the soldier mind kicks in and say what are the things he needs to do. So next thing he went to do is check all the supplies and generators to see anything was disturbed, everything was in good condition. And then he checked the supplies one more time. And then he said, okay, I need to go to town and get the things that I need. He took his jeep and he drove off. It was a long, windy road, coming down the mountain area. So he was a bit more higher up in the Himalayan region. And the town was much lower, but it was about 30 kilometers away. But with the windy roads and all, it took a longer time. So once he reached the town, he stopped, thought I'll go get some breakfast lah, have some food to eat. So he went to like a small coffee shop, makan shop. And then straight away, the person behind the counter, a young man, greeted him. Hello, sir. Long time no see. How are you? Ragbir said, no, I think wrong person. You got about the wrong person. Then the boy was confused. So he thought, oh, okay, sir. Anyway, come. You want to sit down? What would you like to have? You want to have the usual? So usual? Yeah, sir, the usual. I said, no, just give me a bread and a coffee, right? No sugar, right? Coffee, strong black coffee, no sugar, and one roti, right? So Ragbir was, yeah, that's what I wanted. So he brushed it off. So the boy went in, and then he said something. He heard voices, and then two other of the cooks came out and said, hello, sir. Hello, Bhaiya. How are you? Long time never see you. So what are you talking about? I've never been here before. We've never been here before. What are you talking about? So they were all like scratching their head. Then the boss came out, the owner of the coffee shop. Hello, Mr. Ragbir Bhaiya. How are you? Long time no see. So he said, how come you know my name? What's going on? Ragbir Bhaiya, everything okay with you? You suddenly disappeared. We don't know what happened to you. What happened? You're doing security at that place, huh? Same place, huh? Up the mountain, huh? The white man property, huh? So you said, what are you talking about? Yes, I'm working there. But how come? So everybody was puzzled. And Ragbir also was like, he don't know whether to engage with this or not. He's very confused, plus what happened at the property. So he thought maybe these fellas are... So he's very suspicious of everybody. Maybe these people are trespassers or what. I'm not sure. So he quickly ate what he ate and then gave them the money and he left. Didn't even say bye to them. But he could see that all the staff was very confused about this. So he went to the shop, he checked on the way, where's the nearest shop to get electrical items and all that. There's a small shop, like a small, telephone radio repair shop, and there's another provision shop. So they pointed him to the provision shop. He went to the provision shop. It was like a family business. There was this a lady who was standing at the counter with a small child playing around. The child ran up to him. Uncle, how are you? I miss you. It was like a 9-year-old child or something. And then the lady at the counter said, hello, Bhaiya, how are you? Long time never see you. What happened to you? You still back to work here? Huh? You like working in these very devilish places. So Ragbir was confused. You know me? Of course we know you. You come here to have dinner with us. What, you okay? Everything okay with you, Bhaiya? You just disappeared. We don't know where you went. Suddenly you disappeared. And another security guy came in, and he disappeared. And then now you come again. What is going on? So I don't understand. I don't understand. See, what do you mean you don't understand? You don't know? You cannot remember me? Say, no. Everything okay with you, Bhaiya? Everything okay with you? So he said, no, I just want to buy something and go away. I'm a bit confused. I just came to work, a long drive. I'm not feeling well. So he said, I just need to buy this. So the lady was confused again, So second time, so this time he just bought everything, dumped it all inside his vehicle, and he drove off. While he was driving away, he's still feeling very confused. How come they know me? They know me by name. They said, I've been here. So what he did was, he tried his phone. The phone wasn't working. He was, through going up to the property already. And so while he went into the house quickly. First thing he did was he emailed the company that hired him and checked with them. Said, just to check with you, can I have knowledge on the person previously working here? There was no answer from that email. So, Ragbir thought, can't make sense of it. But he said, I already have a headache coming, so just felt a lot of stress. He went to take his medication, and he rested for a while, and then he got up, and then again went around the property, check. He was very automatic, very diligent in the work that he did. Second night came, and it was very quiet. Nothing happened. Third night came, very quiet. Took almost a week. Everything was peaceful. After a week, in the middle of the night, he was woken up by the same howling sound. Quickly what he did was he got up to the second floor, took his binoculars, he ran to the bed to check. This time he heard the howling coming from the front area. Somehow or other he felt that whatever it was, he's trying to play cat and mouse with him. He went to the front and he could see movement in the bushes. And what he did was he quickly ran down. He ran down, took his rifle, took a position, and waited. Out of nowhere, towards the side of the property, he had closed the curtains actually and made sure the windows and doors were locked. He could sense a figure moving outside the window. But what shocked Ragbir was, it was not of a human form. It was a tall figure, almost about 7 to 8 foot tall according to him. It didn't move like a human being. It was like an animal, very laborious in the way it moved, and heavy footsteps. He could hear heavy footsteps. And it was just moving across, but was moving fast. It was like, it wasn't running, but surprisingly, there was fast. He could sense the silhouette moving fast. So he had his rifle up, and he was just, following that figure. The lights were off, so the figure, I think the outside, whatever it was, couldn't see inside. Curtains were closed. So he followed it, and he knew that he was going to the back door. This time, he heard scratching. Some parts of the property were made of cement, the other parts were made of wood. It was a bit of a combination. So the area just below the window area was made of wood. And he could hear whatever that was walking outside was scratching the wooden frame as it was walking around the house. And it was very loud. It was like, like a very loud scratch. I'm not doing justice to the sound, but he could hear it. So what he did was he went right to the kitchen. At the entrance of the kitchen, the windows were closed. He took position at the door to see if it comes through, he's going to blow it off, no matter what it was. He was fearful, but the soldier in him taught him to be calm and ready for such any incident. So he just scratched, and he stopped right at the window. It was almost like waiting game. And then he heard a scratch on the door. But this was a heavy cemented, thick wooden combination kind of door. He said the frames were all wood, but in the middle part was cemented. So he could hear the scratch on that door. It's like almost playing mind games with him. And then he heard the lock being opened, the door trying to be opened. And he just stood still, aiming the rifle.